Hello, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Back together again. Eric Svilagoy here from Crop Life and Laura Sawinski. Laura, good to see you again, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming back, or actually I should say that of myself, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm so thankful you're back.
I know. On occasion you've been gone and I've done videos solo, and it's like when you don't have somebody to kind of like bounce copy off of or information, it gets a little, a little stressful, a little more stressful than normal. So,
Yeah, yeah. Now I know how Walter Cronkite felt.
yes, we are dating ourselves
Yeah.
terribly because I get that joke. That's good. All right. Well, yes, as our viewers are probably aware, of course, you did the video solo last week. I thank you very much for doing that while I was running around the state of Ohio enjoying myself. But hey, I do have a couple of things to share with viewers since I've been gone. This was at the end of June. Our friends at AGCO had a tech day in Salina, Kansas on a farm, and they were demonstrating several pieces of new technology that the company has in the market now or is planning to introduce over the next year or two. They had some autonomous vehicles, grain cart, baler, something to do with like a planting unit as well. Before our friends in ag retail, on the sprayer side of things, there were two products they highlighted. One was the Weed Seeker 2. Now, this was a Trimble product that now that AGCO is the PTX Trimble partnership joint venture that they're putting that on their sprayers. The Weed Seeker 2, it helps fight resistant weeds by putting the right amount of product in the right place. And it's a green on brown method. The sensors look for, so this would be in the early part of the season.
Mhm.
But the speaker there mentioned the fact that the optical sensor on the Weed Seeker 2 is so sensitive that it can, quote unquote, spray a dimed-sized weed, even if the sprayer is traveling at 25 miles per hour. I thought that was very impressive. I mean, I know how small dimes are. I have trouble finding them in my pocket all the time when I need one. And that is a very impressive sensor. So
Yes, truly precision ag.
truly precision ag. So again, the Weed Seeker 2 is currently in the market. And then they also talked about the precision ag planting vision system that they're
Mhm.
getting ready to introduce. Now, this system, it's more of a camera-based system, but don't let me speak for the folks at AGCO and Precision Planting. Here is a video I took of Scott Van Eaton, who was with Precision Planting, who was at the event, and he explained how the vision system will actually work in the field.
With the application from our Symphony nozzle. So it's doing that targeted spray there. The armor then has their 2020 in the cab, and that's where they're interfacing. They get to see all of that information from the system real time as they're going through the field. They'll get metrics and maps, the rate that they're applying, the pressure that system is running at, and then with the camera system, get some of that weed information. So weed density, weed type as they're going through the field as well, start to generate that information so they can make a decision if they need to going through the field. What I haven't talked about, but want to touch on with this system, which you guys would have seen a little bit in the farm office station, is the precision planting panorama there. So the grower can also utilize that then to sync their data from their 2020 into their account on that app, and then have that with them, wherever they go. They got their phone, they can pull that up, look at that information, share it with a trusted advisor or an agronomist maybe that they're working with to help them make those decisions. Well, so really on the post application, post planting passes, they have the ability to go back, review that information, get some more summaries, reports, really dig in and analyze that. Did they do the right things when they were making those passes through the field throughout the season?
So that's what Scott had to say regarding the operation of the vision system. Laura, that system is in beta test right now. and AGCO and Precision Planting are hoping to bring it to market probably in 25, maybe a little later than that. But hopefully in the next year or so, this vision system will be seen on sprayers of all makes and models. That was one thing the folks made a point of saying, that the products we're talking about here, they're not just for Fendt Rogators, they're not just for the Massey Ferguson sprayers. You can use them on John Deere's, you can put them on cases. They're brand agnostic in that sense. So,
Yeah, great feature.
yeah. Anyhow, one other thing to update. I know intermittently over the last, I guess, year or so, we've talked a little bit about this conflict between the U.S. and our friends in Mexico regarding yellow corn and biotech corn importation. I know that the Mexican government that was in place was kind of resistant to accept these imports from the U.S. because of the biotech feature, and they were looking to become more self-sustaining on their own when it came to yellow corn. But there was an election recently in Mexico, and the administration changed. So the new president-elect is a woman by the name of Claudia Steinbaum. And and her Secretary of Ag, or Minister of Agriculture, excuse me, stated that that they're not going to follow the previous administration's movement to not accept importation of yellow corn from the U.S. So the Minister of Ag mentioned that they're going to continue to rely on the U.S. for yellow corn imports, and that basically that this, that's about a $6 billion business, or at least it was in the most recent year, 2023. So that will continue. So the corn growers in the U.S. will continue to be able to send their corn to our friends in Mexico without any resistance from the Mexican government at this point.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting development, obviously big development. I know that our U.S. trade rep, Catherine Tai, was in Mexico City at the end of June, um, addressing the dispute settlement panel as far as part of the USMCA trade pact, and presenting their case, as to why the imports should continue. So Claudia Sheinbaum doesn't take office till October 1st.
Right.
She'll have a 6-year term. But you're right. I think that the new administration, obviously, while she will undoubtedly, she was close to Lopez Obrador, the current president, and I think that helped her a little bit as far as getting elected. But she has said that she will clearly have her own agenda as well. So I think this is a good start for her getting you know um, again, I think the more I read about the case about this, it seems that a lot of the data that Mexico was using was outdated. It wasn't science-based, et cetera, et cetera. So I do think that the U.S. has a strong case just on its own merits. But I think this administration coming in October will also help, kind of ease those trade relations. And there are clearly other things that are going on, not just in ag, but other trade things. So, which kind of leads to things that I've been thinking about, this past week or so. As you know, I always keep my finger on all things supply chain related, and it's always I'm attracted to this space and thinking about it because it's truly an art and a science, much like how I view agriculture, just as much science as art. And I'm thinking that still, and what we're seeing is still a lot of uncertainty and instability, global supply chains, and I always look to ocean shipping, global, commercial ocean shipping is the bellwether of how the rest of the supply chain is behaving or performing or not. And you had a really good article recently on kind of a follow-up with our visit to Sunrise Co-op in June, and you were talking about just-in-time supply chain management, inventory management, seeding way to just in case. And that's something that, you and I have talked about before, kind of building up this buffer stock due to snags in the supply chain. And while a lot of it has seemingly kind of settled down post COVID, I think ocean shipping right now still, and we were just talking about this internally with our Global AgTech Alliance group just recently, whereby you had these huge spikes in ocean freight rates during COVID, followed by kind of a capacity glut. Rates fell, and now they're and they spiked again in large part because of what was going on in the Red Sea and attacks on steamships, and which caused a lot of diverting of freight, maybe going below Africa and up, adding a couple 3 weeks onto the transit time, higher ocean freight rates. And then recently it looks like Hamas is warming up to the idea of a ceasefire, which would obviously smooth things out in that Red Sea, crucial shipping channel for sure. Um, and then freights are ocean freight rates are starting to bottom out again. So I've never seen such a peak bottom. So again, whether it's inventory management strategies, whether it's shipping, what ports, where do we go? You add this labor relations, particularly in Canada right now. It looks like both of their major rail lines, CP and CN, could be heading for a strike. Still, international longshore folks on the East Coast, Gulf Coast, contract set to expire on September 30th. Still no contract there. So I don't know. Kind of the other thing, and why is this important, and why is it always in play? And then one of the panels, and I really wanted to call this out because we have a um, ag tech retailers executive think tank panel on the Tech Hub Live program, and a lot of it will be discussing kind of like the business, and how do we operate a business in the current climate. And again, the instability, the uncertainty, whether it's the interest rates, just higher costs for farming. What does that mean? And so I'm super excited. Our friend Bruce Erickson from Purdue will be moderating this panel. Super great panel. So just one of many things. Again, we're a couple weeks out here from Tech Hub Live. We're probably about 15 days thereabouts before we kick off.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited. We're um, what else do we have going? Our workshops. I wanted to mention that again. You'll be handling the drone workshop. This will be on Wednesday, the 31st, right after Tech Hub Live, the main program concludes. You'll be outside with the folks looking at a big trailer that HTS Ag has for us, with simulators and all this good stuff. And then we'll be doing live drone demos. I'll be inside with the cool air conditioning for a panel on
Know
biologicals.
why you wanted that session. Okay, now I get
Now
it.
the truth is revealed. But we're so excited. So again, really would love to see everyone. TechHubLive.com. Register. Come on down and join us. Actually, I've got another spot coming up. We can talk about it next week. But our friends at Farm for Profit have invited me as a guest to talk about Tech Hub Live. So we'll have a radio spot, and they will be there as well. Farm for Profit will be moderating our All Farmers panel, and that will be on Wednesday, the 31st. So lots of super stuff going on. Hope to see everyone in Des Moines.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. And by the way, since you gave me a good transition, since I'm covering drones, I did run across a little drone news to share. Of course, most folks in the drone industry are probably familiar with Rantizo, one of the bigger companies out there that deals in drones. I'm happy to report that on July 3rd, Rantizo received approval to an amendment to the exemption number 18929B, and this will allow Rantizo service hub operators to swarm up to 3 drones over 55 pounds each without a visual observer and at night. So again, this is pretty big news because again, folks have said one of the things standing in the way of more widespread drone usage or a little bit of the FAA regulations still being written and formulated. So again, with this exemption to the amendment, the Randizo folks are making some progress on this area.
Yeah, for sure. That is a big announcement. And during the drone workshop at Tech Hub Live, Adam Gittens from HTS Ag and his colleague Matt Mouse, both of them are very well versed in the regs and where they're at and what's going on. Adam, in particular, has been part of the development and so forth. He's really active in that part of the space of the sector. So yeah, it'll be good. You'll have to report back.
Yep, looking forward to it. I'm sure the
Yeah.
end of the month will be here before we know it. So
I know.
But in the meantime, we are now at the end of the video. So of course, since there's 2 of us, one of us is playing the game. So it is time for Fun with Numbers.
Okay, well, I had a blast last week. I got it right.
Well, yeah, it's
No,
always good when you
I'm-
write the question and take the quiz yourself, and especially when you pick a number that has like no wiggle room for wrongness, like 100%. So
Right.
that was very clever on your part. No, my number this week for you is a little smaller than that, so there is wiggle room. So
Yeah.
instead of 100%, Miss Laurie, your number this week is 3%.
Okay.
Okay, so Miss Laura, is 3%, is that A, the decrease in planted corn acreage for 2024? Is it B, the increase in planted soybean acreage for 2024? Is it C, the decrease in planted wheat acreage for 2024? Or is it D, the amount of time I spent checking emails while I was on vacation last week?
Oh, Eric. I feel like didn't you have a similar question recently? And I feel like I guessed it right, but this I'm going to say A, decrease.
All right. And I will let you know that I kind of tricked you a little bit this week. 3%.
It's the same, right?
No. 3%. A is correct, but
Okay.
B also would have been correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the decrease in acreage, 3% in corn and increase in soybean. I'm sure there's no correlation between those two, but yeah, this was our friends at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They're talking about the acreage report.
Yep.
They said that U.S. farmers planted 91.5 million acres of corn in 24, 3% decrease from the previous year, but soybean was up to 86.1 million acres, 3% increase. If you're wondering, wheat was down 5%, a little more than 3%, to 47.2 million acres. The biggest winner, though, among all the crops that they mentioned, the row crops, was cotton. Our friends at Cotton Grower magazine, one of our sister publications, are real happy that that actually, between 2023 and 2024, the cotton acreage went up 14%, 11.7 million acres of cotton. So, yes, so congratulations. You got it correct, but you had 2 right answers to pick from. So you had better than a 50-50 chance, assuming that D is never the correct answer. So.
Wow.
Because I'm sorry to admit that I did check my email probably once a day while I was on vacation. So more than 3%, sorry.
All right. Well, I'm sure my gift card's in the mail, right?
Giving up on the Barbie Ferrari, have we? Okay, no problem.
No, I'm still going after that, gotta seal that midlife crisis with that Ferrari.
Good deal. All right, Miss Laura. Well, hey, thanks for joining us this week and myself. Glad to be back. I hope you, our viewers, enjoyed our update on what's going on in the marketplace this week on Retail Week. We will be back again next week. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you soon.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.